Today, I have a pleasure of having a guest from Ukraine, the Ukrainian beast, the Emperor Vlad Suhoruchko. Yo.
Hi, bro. How are you? Good?
Yeah, how are you? How is it going?
Good. Good. Thank you.
How is it now in Dubai?
Good. Much better than Ukraine.
Why did you decide to go to the Dubai?
First, I have right now. I think I can say this. Soon I will sign a new contract with new company here. This company from Dubai, and one of this option, I need to stay here and be here.
Are you going to live there?
Yeah.
Yeah, for you know, it is going to be your home now, right?
Yeah. It's like not. It's officially will stay here, not like just tourists come and go back, come and go back.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. How was it in Ukraine? What are we going to miss the most besides the food, of course?
I think really this. I think the same like in Poland. This what you can find in pharmacy and buy in pharmacy.
But isn't it like easier in Dubai?
No, not easy. There's some stuff you can bring or someone can bring to you, but most what you can find here in pharmacy, this is not like in Ukraine or Poland. This really this stuff what we use and what we need for protect health and this for like this thing here.
Yeah, I know. By the way, so let's go back to your early years in career. I remember when you were trying for a pro card. It was 2019, if I remember well. Yeah.
19. Yeah, 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I
exactly.
remember that you took it almost by the last show of the year. How many times did you try for your pro card?
Just I compete 2 times. First time I compete in Hungary, this in Budapest. I got second place, and it's not like how to say this. I got the second place, but after we spoke about this situation with Mauro Sassi. First place getting this athlete from Mauro Sassi, and after Mauro texts me and say like you will like I congratulation and I know what we did with my athlete, but honestly you was first on this time, and after 2 weeks I compete in Dennis James in Germany, Frankfurt, and I take for what I can.
Yeah, how was it to meet Dennis James, because he's such a legend to our sport?
What you mean?
I mean, how was he in real life as a person? Because he was the one to give you the pro card, yeah?
No. This pro card, he was in competition. He was promoter, but give me pro card this Gary Yudi.
Okay, yeah, of course.
This,
as well as star.
He was head judge in this competition, and of course this Dennis was there, and Gary was there. Many athletes, and if you remember this, Rami was there, was guest posing
with Adolf Burkhardt. Yeah, I remember this. It was insane. I remember, but Adolf looked really good there.
He was so deep of season.
Yeah, he was really off season, so to speak.
Yeah.
What do you think about Rami, by the way? Did you meet him in Oxygen?
No. When I came to Oxygen, he not was there. He's finished with Oxygen with Camel Crew, and he till now he is part of another team.
Yeah, he's now with Dennis James and the doctor, with the diet dog, the Chap Nichols. What made you decide to join the Camel Crew?
It's after Hungary, this competition, I start to understand what really I wanted to make something big and change it and make improvement. But this knowledge what I have, it's not enough. And I understand what I must change something and found someone who can help me. So before Dennis James, I text to Oscar. Honestly, I don't like. I don't think what he will answer it or something like this, because he's so busy. And till now, many athletes text me, many big athletes with name text me and like ask me I can speak with him or not, because it's so rare if he will answer to someone, because a lot of athletes, a lot of people text him. So, and on this time I have luck, he answered me, and he's he texts me like send me all your plan, what you're doing about everything, and which my next competition. I told him this will be Dennis James, and we start like it's not was so smart to change something, because we like I make everything alone and I have good shape. He just make some like change some small things about loading, about this some small thing, and this in complex make for me this good results. So, and after this we spoke with him after Dennis James, and I asked him like which next step and next goal. He told me you will come to Kuwait and start preparing to this pro debut, and you need to take qualification to Olympia. And when he told me this first time, this I had shock, because I just take this pro card and where Olympia, and step by step every time like I make improvements, getting something, and now this really this main goal for all season, like compete in Olympia, and this what I do right now.
How was the first time when you went to the Kuwait? How was the training with stars like, you trained with Rolly, you trained with Ashkanani, you trained with Nathan. How was it?
Yeah. I remember I came to Kuwait. Oscar come to airport, like pick me, and we go to apartment where I stay. He asked me like how I train. I train heavy, I train hard, or no. I say yeah, of course I train hard, I train heavy.
And then they showed you.
yeah. Okay. He told me you will train tomorrow with Nathan. I say okay, yes, no problem. And honestly, I know I even can't imagine what wait to me on this time. First workout, it was back. I will remember this till I die, because it was so heavy. All workout was heavyweight and superset, and after I think really I die after this. So hard. This I never feel like more intensive and more harder workout than there.
Tell me, how do they train? Because they kind of don't do the, the basics, so to speak. They don't do deadlifts. They don't do typical squats. They kind of do machines, yeah?
It's depend of your, like what you need. It can say what you don't do. And I remember in deadlift, we also make, and this just depends what you need, which part you need to make improvement. And I just this one what I can say, this always it's heavy weight and many reps.
Yeah, I see the workouts that you guys are doing. It's like even when you fail, you still do some drop sets, you do some negatives, partials. That's like total failure. How many times a day you train there?
Two, sometimes I remember it was 3 times. It's just first, it's for example, morning you do cardio, you do some small muscle group like calf or this lower back or glutes. After it was, for example, 8 o'clock. Next workout you do around 11, 10:30, 11, something like this. You can make this back, for example, and evening you make it like around 4 o'clock. You make biceps or triceps, something like this.
That's insane. How many meals are you having there?
It's always same. This six meals.
Any shake intra workout?
Yeah. This carbs you use all like it's also it just depend of your time what you do right now. Your when I had off season, Nathan have preparation, but we have different. And I remember every day I had cheat meal this every day. So
Nathan is big on cheat meals as well, I think. Yeah.
He's just full of plan what Oscar will say, but he have metabolism same like me. For example, we not sit without food in diet, because you're getting shredded always just with a lot of food. Just your start make more this not even cardio. You start like train more. For example, right now this training session, 3-day train, 1-day rest, 3-day, but just need to change training. For example, directly 6 times per week directly, and with same food, with same stuff what I use now, I will get shredded more.
That's just a matter of intensity, right?
Yeah. The same. If I will leave everything like my cheat meal, my this shake, intra workout, per workout, intra workout and post workout, same, but just this depend of training process.
Yeah, tell me, because when you became a pro, how much did you weigh?
I was like kilogram, yeah, or what?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we are Europeans. So.
This in Danish James, I compete. My weight was 103 kilogram, something like this.
Yeah. And now it is?
Last competition in Spain, it was around 117, something like this.
So you made basically 15 kilos of muscle in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. How much do you weigh right now?
130, 131, something like this. And still, we not have this goal go so high with weight, because I stay with quality. There's no need to like make something now like go over, because it's I can say honestly, this is not make any progress for you, because if you stay leaner right now and your metabolism always fast, this is more important for your progress, and you will have more bigger progress than if you go over and after you will start cutting, and it will not bring something good for you.
Yeah, you qualified for the Olympia 2021. Why you weren't allowed to travel?
Yeah, because of this situation with visa. many athletes, many people with who I spoke, not getting this qualification because of same situation like me. For example, this Lionel need go not to Olympia. He planned to go to Arnold and compete there, but this government from France not allow this. Same situation with Juliana. This, yeah.
Jujuma.
Yeah. She told me when she know what I have the same. She texted me and I asked him. She had the same situation like me.
And Oleg really, I think he is as well trying for a green card. Yeah.
Who?
Your friend from Ukraine, Oleg really.
About
the 12
green
guy.
Yeah, no, I know, but about green card, I don't know. I know what he was. He always open visa and this how to say, he need open like always new visa because they give just for 1 year.
Oh.
They not give like before for directly 10 years.
That sucks. So now when you are in Dubai, there won't be a problem to travel to States, yeah? You just have to stay like 2 weeks, for example, in Dubai, and then you can travel to USA, right?
No. I'm still have Ukrainian passport, and this I have much more like better opportunity right now than I have in Ukraine because I will have this ID passport here from Emirates, and this is have more reason like to get in this visa, and but in April I have my meeting in embassy, so I hope I will get in my visa for like in this year. All my plan is same, this compete in Olympia.
Yeah, it was really sad that you couldn't travel because you put in so much work. I remember you competing, and I was so cheering for you. And when I knew that you got qualified, I was so happy. And then you told me that you are just not allowed to travel. I was like, this sucks. What are your plans now? As are you still in the off season? Are you preparing for anything?
No, around 2.5 months we'll stay in off season, and after we'll start preparing to competition. We will see, but first also need in April I will go back for a few days to Ukraine and to meeting. I hope I will get in everything what I need and just focus it to competition. So first, my plan, I think it will be summer. This we will for sure we will decide a little bit later, but right now this can be here in Europe, the Spain, Portugal, something like this, or if I will get visa, I can also just compete in USA.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I hope that you are able to travel because it is really hard nowadays to just simply move from the place to place. Are you going back to the Kuwait, to Oxygen Gym?
It's now this not possible because situation until we all guys go from Kuwait, go back when was first this lockdown, first pandemic. This all people are go from Kuwait. It's same. It's not just athletes. It's all people like who was there, like workers or something like this. And situation till now, this like almost 2 years, not change. You can get visa to Kuwait and preparing there, but it's just ticket to one way. For example, if you get in this visa, you can stay there for 4-5 weeks, something like this. After you go, and you can go inside again.
So it's just
So
not worth it to travel. But
yeah, and we are all wait when here is Oxygen in Dubai will open. It will be soon, and
yeah,
it will be yeah. It's
great.
yeah, maybe, but I think around 1 year this will open, and here will be so huge, so big Oxygen, and this will be much better because everyone can come to Dubai and not have any problem with this situation, visa situation.
Yeah, by the way, there are many athletes from Ukraine. What do you think made them choose this sport? Because there are so much more athletes now. I remember Lesukov used to compete before. Do you know the Lesukov?
Yeah, but he from Russia.
Yeah, he's from Russia, yeah? Yeah, so
Mhm.
there were not really many athletes from Ukraine. Nowadays, the sport has grown. What do you think made it grow? Was it your persona? Because you had incredible success.
Uh, this I can say what we always have, like good athletes. It's really good athletes with good genetic, like it's good bodybuilders. Because, but you know, this fitness industry in Ukraine, it's so so low this level, and most people are not seeing like how to say perspective to grow and to found something on this sport and just compete on this regional level, and even really have good potential, good physique, but no one, not have some person who can like take and say really correct or something like this. And also the situation with IFBB international,
Yeah, I know.
just if even you are good, this have this like if you are good, you have to wait. It's but some people can understand this, some people can't understand this, and we all have this different character. For someone this good, and someone don't care about this. He just like tank, he goes straight. And for example, like me, I don't care about no one what someone will say to me, or which opinion have. I know everything about myself and what I must do. Someone can like me, someone don't like me. This I do this because I love this, not because of someone will think something or dislike something or don't like.
That's the most important thing. That's your passion, yeah?
Yeah. So and that's why before this before not was much athletes from Ukraine in pro level, because uh, this age when was Ronnie and Dorian, it was so hard to get in pro, and this time. But right now, honestly, this more easy, and we have much athletes this from every country, like who is pro. So right now we can see this more athletes.
Yeah. One last question before we go. I know that you're a busy person. Vlad, who is your favorite bodybuilder?
Ronnie.
Ronnie, of course. What could you say? Are you taking like, are you having him as an example when you train? Because you train really, really heavy.
I like him like person, like bodybuilder. He is really example of like how to say, he's real ambassador of the sport, and someone another we will never have same like him. He is best in can have good physique, can have this size like him, or even bigger than him, but it will not be like this. So it's really so big person, really like human, and good bodybuilder. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a pure heart. That's for sure. He loved everything.
Yeah.
He loved. Vlad, I just want to wish you all of the best with getting your visa, and I hope that we are going to finally see you in the Olympia stage, because I know that you are capable of it. Thank you for having your time.
Thank you, brother.
See you.
See you.